Hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar. I hope you are all keeping well. Today we're going to be looking deeper look at Education City and part 1, planning for distance learning. Now, this webinar is the first in a series of webinars that we have coming up, discussing more detailed areas of Education City. And today we're going to be looking at planning for distance learning. So ideally, what I'm going to show you today is setting up work using Education City, allocating it to students remotely, and then being able to track scores and progress, a bit of a summary at the end there. Now, before I get started, I do need to let you know that the account I'm going to be using today is a made-up school. So just in case you were worrying about GDPR, I won't be breaking any GDPR rules, as the children names that you see, the staff names that you see, do not exist. The other thing I will be pointing out is that I am using an English account. So please don't worry if you are joining me today from Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, or anywhere else. I will point out those areas that may look slightly different to you. And if at any point you have any questions, please wait until the very end, where I will be able to provide you with an email address and you can send them straight over to us. Okay, so let's head over to Education City and get started. Here we go. And now again, I'm going to be using the new homepage that Education City has just here. Again, you can see if I head back along the band, you've got the old one here, and you can click on that ribbon and it will take you to the new page. Now, to start off with, I need to, or I could, I say, create that MyCities, that folder of work. And you can see here you've got your classwork and your homework folders just there. Just in case you weren't aware already, Education City has upgraded accounts to include that 24-hour access. So children can log in 24 hours a day. And I would just say, to avoid confusion, keep everything you're doing for them to do at home in the homework section. But I'm not going to create that folder. What instead I'm going to do is show you how you can find the content to pop into a new folder instead of creating the folder and then finding the content. So I'm going to be using the search content function just here. So if we head over, what this will do is it will search via a keyword for you. And you see you've got a couple of selections you can choose from underneath just there, or you can input your own. Now, this way is really useful if you are doing some cross-curricular learning. You could type in something like Henry VIII work, and you will see that English work that covers that particular area. Same thing for like Romans, Greeks, dinosaurs, whatever it is that you are looking for. But today I thought we might look at some science work. So I'm going to be looking at some plants. And there we go. We have everything that links with that keyword that has popped up for us. Now, again, we've got our filters down the left-hand side. So I definitely want science. I'm going to be looking for those tablet-friendly tools just so that I know everything that I send home to students, they can access on a tablet or an iPad. So let's select that. And then further down, you will see you've got your year groups or your age ranges. Now, this will appear different depending upon where you are logging in from. So, for example, if you are joining us today from Scotland, this will have your early, first and second stages in there. Or in some cases, it may have sort of F1, F2, and then P1 to P7 there as well. So English account, I'm going to go down the middle. I'm going to head for lower key stage 2, year 3 or year 4. And that's sort of P5 to P6. There we go. Everything appears. So we've got all of those filters, really, really useful. And then down the bottom, we've got our different content types. Now, don't worry if you didn't join us for our webinar on Tuesday, where we looked at those different content types. You will find them in the video user guide. There they are, just there. So you can have a quick look at that webinar, different content types, and then this might support you in this webinar. Now, as I always say, I think it is really, really useful to get the brain working, get children excited about a unit or a topic of work. So let's head over to the Think It's, and you can see now we've got a summary of everything that we have. And you can see we've got the name, a bit of a summary underneath, a summary of what it's asking or what it's talking about there. And the info button in this case will tell us how this particular tool links back to national curriculum objectives for England. But again, if you are joining us from elsewhere, it will meet your curriculum requirements as well. So we can open one of these up. This might be a fun one. Have a look at that one. And you can see it's got the question there that it's posing. I want to test the growth of tomato plants, and it's introducing fair testing and talking about variable changes as well. So it's asking that question that the children can then maybe respond to and plan their experiment. The great thing is in the answers, you've got what Manu is telling you, Manu just here, and then he's giving you that next step. Can you think of another experiment where you planned a fair test? So think it's a really useful tool. So let's head back along our breadcrumb trail at the top just there. And what we're going to do now, we're going to add to a MyCity using that orange plus sign. But as we haven't created that MyCity yet, I'm going to head into homework, type in plants and maybe today's date so that I've remembered when I've created it, and create. And you can see there it is. And as long as it's got that green tick just there, we can save and those tools will go into that folder. So we could add a couple of tools in. So maybe something along the lines of drawing conclusions. That might be really useful for the end of it, the experiment. So let's add that one in, and you'll see now, there it is, it's already been created. So we can just pop that in and save. So what's next? I would suggest a learn screen. So I'm going to remove Think It's, and instead I'm going to bring the bar back down and have a look for a learn screen. There it is just there. And again, you can have a look through here. You can use the info button to see what curriculum objectives you are meeting. Alternatively, you can use the summary just here. Maybe something about the 5 requirements of plants. If we're doing an investigation about that, maybe that is something that would be beneficial. Now, the great thing about our learn screens is that they are really good at introducing or refreshing a unit of work or a topic area. And something like this, you might pop into a folder, our objective just there, and you might ask the children to go through this with their parents and go through each stage of what plants need. And I'm just fast forwarding there using the fast forward buttons, but I can pause or I can go along slide selector just there as well. So great tool. I'm just going to head back and I want to pop that into my folder. So head over to homework again. There we go, and save. Now, the great thing is that sometimes EducationCity provides you with a sequence in terms of the activities that will support learn screens and vice versa. So I'm going to head to activities and I'm going to leave learn screens on just to see if there are any sequences here as well. And you can see straight away we've got our learn screen and our 2-part activities there. So this is something that you can use to support your children in understanding this area. We've got part 1 and part 2, which you can tell via the image. So let's pop one of them into the folder. There it is just there, and save. And obviously you can pop as much or as little into that folder as you need to. Maybe something like this might be nice as a bit of a plenary, so they can experiment dipping celery in food coloured water. That's always a fun experiment to see how sort of the plants work in transporting water. So let's add that one in as well. Why not? There we go. done. And you can keep adding as much or as little into that folder as you go through there. So now that I'm done, I'm going to head back to the home page just here, and I'm going to head into that MyCities. So it was a homework one, but don't worry if you do select classwork instead. You can see you can tab across just there, and there it is. There's plants. So we can open that one up. There we go. You can change the little icon just there. So maybe a flower, maybe the colour, if you have different colours associated with different subject areas. And you can pop a little bit of a comment in there as well. Maybe something like try investigating plants. Here we go, a little message there. If you want to, just make sure that you are saving as you are going through. And then you've got all of your tools in here that you popped in earlier. Now, if at any point you think, actually, I want to add a little bit more in, we can head into the add content function, and it does the exact same thing in terms of typing in a keyword, and you have your filters here, your levels, your subjects, and your different content types. If, for instance, you want to add in something quite specific, as you can see here, I only popped in that one activity. Let's have a look for the second one there. So we can type in the name of that activity, and it will filter down even further for you. And you can see these are the two that are already in there because they've got those X's, and this is the one that I want next. Now, we can also add in the activity sheet and answers just there for those activities, and select done. Again, making sure we save as we go through. And we can start now to rearrange things in a particular order. So maybe we want this one to go next, and obviously we want these in that order. We want that one to go at the end because that's more of a plenary. And the other thing is as well that the children cannot see any activity sheet answers that you have put in there. They will only be able to see the activity sheets. So if you have put something like that in, you hold down your clicker, a technical term that, and drag towards the bottom or the top, and you can see let go, and that will delete that for you. So hold it down, drag it towards the top or the bottom, and let go, and that will delete for you. So you can sort of move things around a little bit. Let's maybe pop that one there. Let's pop that one after a bit of a range in there. And once you're happy, again, save. Now, it's now a case of working through these blue tabs. So the other thing I need to tell you about in the content tab, if you want things to be done in the order that you have set them in, you can sequence. And as you can see now, it has locked things in that order. So you know the order that the children will be accessing in. So that's a really useful tool. But maybe if you're popping loads of things like multiplication tables into a folder and you just want children to access as and when, you could leave that open for the children too. So let's head across to students. Now, you can give particular folders to classes, groups, and individual students. If you haven't created groups yet, don't worry, because again, you can head over to the video user guide and type in the word group, and it will talk you through that. So don't worry about that. But if I want to give this to a class, I can simply click on that plus and those children will appear. So the grouping function, really useful for differentiation. But if you are something like science, if you want to give a whole sort of class projects out, this is a really useful tool. And then we save. And so we've done our content, we've allocated to students, and now is the preferences section. Now, the first thing in the preferences is publishing. If you are going to give this to students or a group of students, you do need to publish. There we go. And you can publish that indefinitely, so it's always there until you delete it, or you can schedule a time frame. So this is really useful if you do want to plan ahead. So I could schedule this for Monday of next week, maybe, until, let's head across, let's go for the following Monday. So they've got a week to go through this. But again, we could pop that for a month if we wanted them to do it maybe for a unit of work. So really useful tool again. So we can save that, and you can see now it is scheduled for that date. Now, as long as that is amber, you can keep going back and changing the date. So if I change that for today, you'll see now it has been published. So again, great tool, that one. And then it's a case of going through, you know your children, you know what you want out of this particular piece of work. You do have a pass score that you can change, the option to print off certificates or activity sheets. And all of our activities do come with a countdown timer. You can turn that off if you wish to, or you can add an additional amount of time. So again, great for differentiation. Or if you just want to see what the children are capable of, you can turn that off there. Again, we can scroll down here, all of our activities, because they are marked for you, their scores are saved, but they do come with a quit or finish button, which means that they can go in, if they've had enough, they can press quit and come straight back out of it. But as long as you leave a gain on, they can keep having a go. If you do want them to finish, to see what scores they've got, we can turn that quit finish off. And then the bottom two relate to our Play Live. Play Live is an online game where the children can compete against children in their school, in their class, or children from other schools. In this case, their school name and their play name does show, and you can turn those off so that they would just be player 1, player 2, player 3, etc. But their scores won't be saved. So just have a look through those, and you know your children, you know what is best. Save that, and then it's a case of tracking. So we can see here we've set that pass rate at 80%. So if I head in here, you can see what the children have been doing by the colour coding. So grey, not attempted, amber, it's in progress, or green, it's been completed. And where you have set a percentage for any activities, you will see their score. So if they've got 75%, for example, you will see that here. And if it's something, maybe it gets to 3-4 days and children are really struggling to reach that pass rate, no problem.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
You can head back into the preferences area, head down to the minimum score, and we can maybe change that to 70% instead. So save that, and you can see now in the tracking that's saved as well. So that is our MyCity, how you can create those for children, different groups of children if you need to differentiate. Join us in future webinars where I'll show you how you can create copies for different groups of students. But you can see we've got our copies just here. So if you do want to explore for yourself, please do. Final bit I'd like to show you is our success tracker, and this is where you can track the progress of those students, whether it be for a term, a year, an academic year, a key stage, whatever you want to track. We can click on to go, and you can see you can do that as well for a group or an individual pupil. Great for parents' evening, and you can export the data as well. And then you can click into any of these if you want to see any questions that were incorrect, and if you're feeling nice, maybe print off a certificate for them if you want to. So that is EducationCity. Please do explore planning for different groups of students in all of the ways that have been shown so far. Don't worry if you missed any of the webinars, you'll find those in our video user guide. And we've got our free resources here as well as our quick links. Sorry, beg your pardon. In the free resources, you will find our learning record activity sheet where parents can record what their children have been doing during sort of the distance learning period, so you can save those and send them home. And today's webinar will be found on our YouTube page as well as on that video section that I showed you earlier. Don't forget, part 2 of a deeper look at Education City is on Wednesday, the 29th of April, if you want to register for that. And please, if you have got any questions or queries, or you'd like to get in touch, please do. Our email address is there, and you've got then your quick links to the website as well. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Please do join me again next week for our future webinars, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you. Stay safe. Bye-bye.